Hi, everybody, and welcome again to SDVoE Presents Face-to-Face AV with Justin Kennington. That's me, your host, and I'm joined today by Cindy Davis, Brand and Content Director for AV Technology. That's a future brand. Cindy, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sitting down.
I'm thrilled to be sitting down because it's Friday. And my feet hurt.
It is Friday. We had a little bit of a confusion just now. Someone told us it was Thursday. I don't know if Cindy was going to kill someone first or me.
We were going to dual tackle.
But we've all agreed it is actually Friday.
Thank
We're
gosh.
going to make it. Cindy, we were chatting just now. You were telling me about. It turns out we're at ISE 2023 at the moment. Cindy's job is to be out all around and see what's going on and ultimately synthesize this for your readers. And you shared with me some themes that you picked up from the show that I noticed fit very nicely into what we do. SDVoE, sustainable, flexible, available. It turns out our slogan are three themes of the show.
And I thought you stole those from me.
Oh, goodness, no. Goodness, no. I have all the documentation.
Okay, I didn't realize that was your tagline. But really.
It's literally printed on the wall.
So everybody's saying, oh, what's big and new, and it's you don't want to say, oh, there's nothing really exciting, nothing really new. But the whole thing is that what was new a couple of years ago is finally shipping. So that's the available part.
Yeah.
And it's good. The whole world has gone through this, right? So it's not like, oh, just here. So a lot of the products are finally available. The supply chain for many is starting to ease up, so they're actually starting to fill that channel, which is really great.
Yeah.
Because we all need it, right?
Yeah, and it's an interesting time, I think, because products that were announced 2 years ago, that's what, 2021? I mean, practically maybe we even mean 2020 for some of it. Those were products introduced for a different world than we're in now.
Right.
So I bet it's interesting to see even I bet some of those products have evolved.
Well, they've been redesigned, that's for sure.
That's what I mean.
They've been redesigned several times.
Here's what we were going to design in 2020, but now we're thinking about it.
Well, I mean, internally they've been redesigned just to get them out the door.
Oh, you're talking about just supply chain management stuff.
Well, both.
Okay.
So, there's supply chain chips aren't there.
Can't get this chip. Let's use that chip.
Whatever kind of chip. They're redesigning internal to really put out the same product, but just redesigning it internally to get something out the door.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Many people are scrambling with that.
A lot of companies are doing that.
A 3-volt regulator is a 3-volt regulator, but if you can get this one and not that one, you have to go do the swap.
Yeah, I've heard some people saying redesigning circuit boards and just to get that out the door.
And we're talking about this specifically. I'm reminded of conversations I've had with manufacturers telling me that they're starting to spend a lot of their engineering resources on component level redesigns just to make product available, and this has come at the cost of new product development. I wonder if that's reflected for you and what you see at the show at all.
So I don't think so.
Maybe that's what we're pulling out of now.
Yeah, I think we are pulling out of it.
Okay.
And as horrible as the pandemic was, I mean, so many people died, especially in the beginning. The silver lining for our industry is that it's catapulted. I mean, everybody's talked about it. It's catapulted our industry.
Yeah.
To a real need, whereas before all these things, UCC, all these things were there. People just didn't, really think they needed it until they really needed it.
I was having a conversation a few days ago with someone about the fact that AV is critical business infrastructure.
Yep.
And that's really hit home in the last 5+ years, but especially the last 2 or 3 years, right?
Yep.
Where a world without TVs and without Teams and Zoom, that's a world that a lot of business no longer gets done.
Who heard of Zoom 5 years ago?
Right.
Well, actually, how old's the company? Probably only 5 years.
I think I heard of it 5 years ago. But.
Yeah. Right. And, a lot of these companies around here, everybody had a pivot, one way or another.
Yeah.
And companies that might not have been thinking of a UC product on their near-term roadmap, it was front and center on their roadmap. So, they were able to engineer those right from the beginning, knowing what's available.
Yeah.
And a lot of that shipping, because everybody went home with getting on eBay, looking for every microphone and camera they can get. So now, hopefully, that's all going to go out and get some really good quality stuff in here.
And it's turned a lot of things on its head, right? I don't want to pick on anybody, but there are big manufacturers in this industry that people go back to that have had some trouble delivering lately. What I've seen from SDVoE perspective is all of our members tell me, they're getting phone calls. I've got an MVX system. I can't get the stuff. Can you help me redesign this to SDVoE?
Not that you're going to mention anything in particular.
I'm not trying to pick on anybody, right? But the point is, when somebody can't supply, it opens the door to others. And look, even thinking beyond SDVoE, you must have seen this in terms of other, let's say, up and coming manufacturers. I think of us. We've had a great idea for 6 years now, and people have been adopting it, but suddenly it's like, oh my God, I need something new. Let's check it out. Do you see that elsewhere happening?
So, yes. I mean, there's definitely, I go around to all this, much smaller manufacturers that have been really doing a great job for so many years, and all of a sudden they've got a lot more work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a lot more.
In a way, and this is maybe the wrong word to choose, but in a way I think it's healthy for the industry.
I do too.
To have that kind of shake-up every now and then, to let new ideas come through, some of which will be great and power our future, some of which will be bad and fizzle out on their own. But when there's too much of a sort of monolithic way of thinking and doing things, you lose some of that room for innovation and new ideas.
Yeah. No, so that's been good. So that's the availabiliability.
Right.
That's the last part of your tagline.
We're doing it backwards today.
We are doing it backwards today. So let's talk about the beginning of it.
That's not backwards. That's all out of order.
Well,
okay,
no,
I can do it.
We'll flip it now. So my first, there was a press conference. What day? The first day of the show. Tuesday? Last week, I think.
175 days ago.
Right. Samsung.
Okay.
And
heard of them?
Small company. They actually don't have as many supply chain issues as other people.
Out of Korea, I think, if memory serves.
Yep. They seem to control their own supply chain, so they don't have as many issues.
I don't know much about Samsung, the electronics manufacturer. I remember years ago watching this, History Channel show about Samsung, the Panamax scale shipbuilder, and they have this factory that was like 8 miles long, and it literally starts at an iron ore mine, and then 8 miles later is on the shipping docks, and it's this complete vertical integration for the largest shipping vessels in the world.
Really?
It was Hyundai, not Samsung.
Well,
sorry.
There you go.
But you get the point. This is how they do things in Korea.
Yeah.
They manage a supply chain.
Yeah. So they haven't had it. I'm sure they've had some issues, but not many. But so obviously you come to these shows and it's big TVs, right? Big displays. The bigger, the better. And that's not what Samsung is showing. Walk around to the front of Samsung's booth, and it's all about sustainability. All about sustainability.
Wow.
That's their message. Of course, they have the wall there because that's the sexy
people
thing
love a big TV.
That's what is going to draw those eyeballs in. But I'm going to say, I mean, they pitch their messages so perfectly. They're looking at it, as I would say, cradle to grave.
Yeah.
Truly a 360-degree sustainability message, and it goes from the depths of what they were talking about is amazing. I mean, they were talking about reusing I'm going to say it wrong, deionized water, reusing that, getting the particles out so that it's being reused. I have the technical aspects, but I don't think you'll get it, so I'm not going to go there.
Nah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not smart. But the point, I think the point is that it's about this makes them able to reuse that water over and over instead of just dumping it down the drain every day.
And into the ocean.
Sure.
And speaking of ocean,
let's do it.
They are. Let's go for a sail. They are using recycled plastic from the ocean.
Okay.
And we've all seen those huge, massive, talk about containers of plastic that are just floating around the ocean. They're actually using some of those plastics, recycling them in their products.
Okay.
So pretty amazing. And they're really re-engineering almost every aspect of the displays. So they're having So packaging, obviously, that's an easy one for many people to do. So I've got to really give them a lot of credit. They've thought of every aspect. And one point I wanted to mention, they have a solar remote now that charges
I've seen
just
that.
from light. Very cool.
So
and
no
they
more
said
replacing the batteries.
it's going to save 200 million AAA batteries a year. Can you imagine that? That alone.
We need to do the math on how big is a pile of 200 million AAA batteries.
Big.
Yeah,
Big. I mean,
that makes sense. I didn't realize you'd already done the math.
I did. It's big. it's that big.
Wow.
But can you imagine that? And that's just in a year.
Yeah.
And what a simple solution. Why haven't we been doing that? I don't know. Anyway, really great. And so that was my first entry in, first thing Tuesday morning. And I'm looking around, and almost every manufacturer, certainly the display companies, have a sustainability message.
Yeah.
Some, Samsung right now is certainly from what I'm seeing is the leader in that. And others are, whether it's power consumption or.
Yeah, I realize, thinking about it now, that the TV manufacturers are sort of, is vanguard the right word? They're kind of the vanguard of our industry to the rest of the world, to outside of Pro AV. And so I know that we've seen, important new legislation around sustainability, around power consumption for electronics manufacturing, and the TV guys get hit pretty hard with that.
Very hard.
Because they're so visible, Nobody out there in European Parliament knows what a matrix switch is.
Yeah.
They know what a TV is,
Yeah.
and it looks like it's using a lot of power.
Yeah, and the power's on all the time. Make sure that's not happening.
So it's good to see them doing this. I suspect that they're also, responding to legal pressure around the world.
Oh, they have to.
Of course they do. And I guess my point is, I have to imagine that that they're going to be leading the industry in this, and the rest of the industry is going to have to follow along.
Yeah. Because
why
not, right?
They started cranking out 4K panels, and suddenly we all had to have 4K matrix switches. Like, that's kind of what happens.
So
the TV guys do something.
Start leading.
And all of, you mean like my sustainable, flexible, available message from last year? Yeah, I agree. Nice idea, Samsung. Thanks for copying me. All right. That's okay. You know what? The more of us that are being sustainable, the better.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a trend that we'll end up seeing through the rest of the industry.
Yeah.
Certainly, we're doing it here, right? I've got a great little math exercise that shows, compared to that one thing I won't name again, since you got on me last time. Did you know you can save $113 in electricity costs every year for using a low-powered SDVoE ASIC-based device compared to an FPGA-based?
So per device?
Per device. That's in Germany. Turns out I looked up who has the most expensive electricity in the world. It's Germany. But you can, I got a little pamphlet here. You can see the math yourself. Go to look at it on our website.
So we'll do the 200 million AA batteries. So that's your 200 million.
There you go. I mean,
batteries.
honestly, how many millions of AV over IP endpoints are out there every year?
Quite a few.
Yeah, maybe one, maybe two, but still, times $100 each.
Yeah,
that's a lot of electricity.
It is a lot.
Well, they're not all in Germany, but
right. And so, all kidding aside, of course, it's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're putting all these endpoints in a enterprise building and add that up, it's huge.
The thing that inspired me to get to that story was a 1,000 endpoint case study that we developed, and I said, wow, like, think of the power that would have been spent on 1,000 endpoints.
Yeah.
If they'd been with FPGAs instead of ASICs.
Yeah.
Wow, it adds up. And then now we're just into the real talking baseball, inside baseball stuff. I put it in a slide presentation and said this install would have saved, would have spent an extra $18,000 a year on their electricity or whatever. And then 3 months later, one of my sales guys who uses the slide deck came back to me and said, hey, I looked at your reference. The power costs went up. It's now $23,000 a year they would have saved.
Yeah.
So now I track it, and now I know to look at the Germany price because that's the highest. But it's dozens of dollars a year in electricity that can be saved by using an ASIC instead of an FPGA.
And every little bit, adds up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I said to somebody, you know how much BS as a service you can buy for $113 a year?
Right.
I'm kidding, of course. Let's talk about flexibility.
Okay, so flexibility.
And what did you see out there that builds this?
I did not coordinate this with you.
No.
I didn't. So
I coordinated with everyone.
you do. So on the flexibility side, so that it kind of fits into your message.
This is the one that we had to squeeze in a little. I admit.
It's a little squeezer. It's the partnerships.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I can't even think of a manufacturer out on that floor that doesn't have some sort of partnership label. Netgear, you've seen every, like, my gosh. They had a number, and I'm going to misquote it. I think it's like 65.
It's ridiculous.
But, yeah.
All I know is I brought them into Pro AV, and now here they are, partnered with 64 others,
Well, there you go.
and a valued, treasured founding member of SDVoE
Absolutely.
Alliance. So we like Netgear. We're just teasing.
So yeah, you see Netgear everywhere, and now, of course, with UC being ubiquitous, you want to make sure. Okay, so here's the big thing: interoperability has always been and will continue to be an issue in our industry.
Yeah.
But now the manufacturers are making sure that their products are interoperable, and many have done this. Had done this before, but now they're showing the products, showing that they're certified, interoperable, and calling them partners. So they are, you'll see whether it's Java or Logitech or all these other companies, and also why reinvent the wheel? If there's a good product out there, why reinvent the wheel? So a lot of companies are using, could be a Jabra camera that they're going to use instead of doing their own. And of course, a lot of companies are doing their own as well. But they're creating these partnerships, and it's not. And I'm not talking about Teams and Zoom certification, because that you've got to get that. And we're certainly seeing SDVoE.
Sure.
On a lot, but I think that's significant. That's a significant change this year.
Okay.
And I think that's partially because of probably driven by supply chain as well.
Supply chain. I think the fast shift to UC. It's already hard enough for any one manufacturer to do it all.
Yeah.
But if you need to do it all right now and you weren't ready to do it right now, then a partnership is a way to do that.
Definitely.
And I think it's certainly an important part of our future. And it's an interesting challenge, right? Because a lot of these companies that will partner are also going to compete in other areas.
Right.
And it's always interesting and fun to strike that balance.
Well, you see, Netgear's in the Crestron booth.
Sure.
I bet, some years ago you would not have seen that.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
For us, Audinate are a contributing member of our alliance, and we partner together on some audio, video combinations, on control stuff. Then they've got Dante AV that has nothing to do with us,
Right.
But still, you find the places where there's common ground, where there's interesting places to work together, and then, be friends and let them compete also.
Well, right, because there's, right. So then there's the technologies that, Audinate might do this really well, but this company says, well, this one does, this part really well, but they can live together.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this was fun.
It was fun.
Sustainable, flexible, available. It's the theme of SDVoE. It's the theme of ISE.
I think so.
Cindy, thank you for joining us. This was a fun chat.
Yep, definitely.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And thank you for watching Face to Face AV.
Thanks.